Hey everybody, how's it going? It's All Music with Todd Ledbetter, and we are back. It's been a couple of weeks since I posted. It's been a interesting couple of weeks, but I'm glad to be back, and things are going great, and health concerns are improving for my wife, and she's in recovery and she's doing great. So I want to thank you all for the well wishes and those of you that have reached out and kind of commented on that. Anyways, to me personally and to her as well. Hey, well, here we are. We're in the middle of the 90s, 1996, where we left off 2 weeks ago from 1995, and it's an interesting year. There's some good music out there, and but I definitely picked some of my favorites, and it's kind of an unusual list, I think, in a lot of ways, in that there's some unique bands here that we were kind of introduced to in 1996, and then there's also a couple of favorites that made the list as well. And this is my top six favorite albums, my personal top six favorite albums. Of course, if the list was longer, I'd have more on there for sure because there's some other great albums that came out in 1996 and then some that came out that I really have no interest in or didn't like at all. So let's go ahead and get started with our number six album here. And let's see, haven't done this in a couple of weeks, so now I got to remember what I'm doing. Okay, that's so far I'm off to a bad start. Okay, let's see. All right, so we want to do this and then do that. Okay, yeah, so here we are with my number six in 1996 with Sublime. Very cool album. Kind of came on with a splash. Little punk rock going on and some reggae feels. Just kind of different, like I said in the beginning, something a little different than what we've been hearing sort of in the mainstream. But definitely a very good and interesting album. Some definitely notable songs like What I Got, Wrong Way, Santeria. Definitely very, very good and an interesting listen all the ways through. Even some of the ones that weren't as popular had a pretty big impact, I think, on the music in that year. Sublime did. So that's why I kind of picked that album as one of my favorites from that year. I mean, not because of its impact, but I liked it. It was a good album, and I enjoyed listening to it. Even today, as I go back and listen to some of these, I remember how much I really really like these albums. So having said that, with our number six, let's move into number five. And this is one of those bands that have been around for a while that I really like. And this is a very good album. Didn't I don't think it wasn't one of their more popular albums, but for me, The Cure, Wild Mood Swings, was a very good album. It sounds great. That's the thing about it. If you like The Cure, that's great. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you. But if you like The Cure, this is a very good Cure sounding album. Even though there's nothing really stand out as far as like hits and radio play too much on here, it still it brings the essence of The Cure and all their different sort of sounds. The only thing that they really don't have on this album is their super doomy, sort of depressing, gloomy sort of stuff. But they've got the upbeat, happy numbers, and then they've got some of their just signature type sounds. And even lyrically, there's some reminiscence of some of the same words and verbiage that you kind of remember as your favorites that sort of incorporate this. Not to make it sound like they're doing the same record and over, because really there's some interesting, unique songs in here. I really like Strange Attraction. I like Mint Car. I like Numb a lot, and I like Trap a lot. Is really good. And Bear is good too. It's a really great album, and it sounds very good. And not only musically does it sound good, but then you get Robert Smith's vocal on it. So if you're a Robert Smith fan, then you got that too. He's got that unique sounding vocal as well. A lot of these bands here actually, and Sublime has a kind of a unique vocal. All these bands I have today are a little bit unique in their style and their vocals, their vocalists. It's kind of what I like about my list. Let's see. So the next album would be number five, and I don't know. You can tell me what you think about this, but I've always have liked this band for what they are, and I'll tell you why. First of all, it's Matchbox 20, and this was their first album, Yourself or Someone Like You. This came on pretty dang strong. Look at the first, I don't know, what, 6 songs on here. They were all pretty big songs. Push, uh, Girl Like That, Back to Good, 3 a.m., Long Day, Real World, all those got a lot of play. Sounds really good, but I really like Rob Thomas for some reason. I like his voice. I mean, it's him. It's he's like, to me, he's like Robert Smith. It's him when he's singing it. That's kind of what I like, and that goes that goes for most of the singers on this list. Um, but I mean, like I said, I already named off the 6 great songs off this. All these are great songs, and the album plays really well, and very very good for their first album, and I like it a lot. So that's Matchbox 20. Now on number 3, this is a great album, and my only regret with this one was that for some reason, not with the album in particular, but with the band itself, is that well, let me show you who it is first before I tell the story. um, Cake, yeah, Fashion Nugget. What a great, again, very unique band. And My son was into Cake. A buddy of mine that has used to work for me in my furniture business sort of introduced me to this, but I didn't really get into Cake right away. And then when my son got into them, I started getting into them sort of at the same time. I realized, oh, these guys are great, and I started listening to all their albums. But they actually played here in town, and for some reason, probably because of work, I couldn't go see them. And my son was probably like in the 5th or 6th grade or something. And we have a local theater that puts on concerts. It's not very big, but good enough for Ventura. Um, on a smaller scale, we also have a fairgrounds that puts on some bigger concerts and whatnot. But my wife took them, and they had a great time, and it was quite the interesting experience for both of them. And I'm glad they were able to go. I wish I could have gone and seen them though too. But some great songs on here. One of the most notable ones, "I Will Survive." That was a big one, if you remember the cover there that they did. But I just love their sound, and it just sounds great sounding album with a lot of unique sounds and different sort of instrumentation on that album as well. So that's what sort of makes that album stand out quite a bit. So that's my number 3 for 1996. Going down to number 2, let's see, we got a wonderful album from a wonderful artist, that is Sheryl Crow. Her self-titled album in 1996 is amazing. It's a beautiful album. It's just a perfect blend of acoustic rock with also electric rock. Some songs are a little more acoustic, some blend the two, some have acoustic beginnings and go into rock, with her unique style of guitar playing and the sounds that she creates. This is a fantastic album. Some of the songs that were hits is "If It Makes You Happy." That was a good one. "Every Day Is a Winding Road." That was a really good one. But this album is just beautiful to listen to, and "The Book" and "Ordinary Morning" are super good songs, and all the ways down. It's a lot of songs on here. There's 13 songs that make that album to a wonderful album. Um, all right, so let's see. The next album we got going here, which is my number 1, and let me get to that. Not even sure if I'm doing this right, but hopefully I am. It's one of my favorite bands. So we got 2 old time bands that have been around for a long time, and then we got the other 4 that are kind of fairly new as far as 1996 goes. But of course, one of my favorite all time bands is Rush, and we got "Test for Echo." This is obviously the 1994 remaster, but if you could look up here where my cursor is, it's 1996 release. 11 songs, very very good album. I love it. I was so happy when it came out. And "Test for Echo," "Driven," "Half the World," uh, The Color of Right, Time and Motion, Totem, Dog Ears. All these songs are just really, really good. Carve Away the Stone is just a beautiful ending. I love this album a lot. Uh, so that's my number one for 1996, Rush's Test for Echo. Now we do have some other things that are, kind of up competing with some of the releases in 1996, just to kind of give you an idea of what's going on. You got like Beck's Odelay and Tools, and Anima. Let's see what else you got. There's some rap and stuff like that, but I'm not really into it. You got Weezer, Rage Against the Machine. I'm not really a fan of Rage Against the Machine for personal reasons, but let's see. You got Fiona Apple. You got some REM. You got some Pearl Jam. Not my favorite bands. Um, Eels. I kind of like the Eels. I've been into them a little bit over the years. We got Wilco, Alice in Chains. Their Unplugged album was great. And then you got like things like Backstreet Boys and things that I'm not really into. You got Metallica released their Load album. It's all right, not great. You got a release from Nirvana, and you got Down on the Upside, Soundgarden, great album. Definitely be in my top 10. Um, let's see, anything else notable as far as my tastes go. You got some Stone Temple Pilots in there. Let's see. You got Prince got a release. Um, it's kind of that. It's a lot of some grunge coming out. Like Bush and Screaming Trees. I'm not really fans of that music a lot. There's a couple of good songs, but I'm not super fans of all that stuff. As I just kind of scrolling through to see what else is there. Hey, you got Buster Rhymes. 1996. A lot of rap coming in. Yeah, Snoop Doggy Dogg, Babyface, things like that. Tony. Not my deal, but that's pretty much it for 1996. I want to thank you guys for watching, and if you got this far into the episode, please like and subscribe and click the notification bell. And if you um, have any if you have any desire, let me know what your favorites in 1996, or if you like any of these albums that I have deemed my favorite from 1996. Like for example, Sublime, my number six, their self-titled album. And then you got The Cure, Wild Mood Swings. I love that album. It just sounds good. And then you got Robert Smith's vocals on top of all of it, so it's that. Then you got Matchbox 20, Yourself or Someone Like You. Like I said, I just, that was a great album. I loved it. There was some really strong songs on there, and for some reason, I don't know what it is, Rob Thomas's voice I really like. It's kind of, to me, like almost like it doesn't sound like it, but Peter Gabriel. I really like Peter Gabriel's voice too. Um, Not Peter Gabriel. I'm sorry, Phil Collins' voice. Oh God. Uh, Phil Collins' voice. I don't know. There's something about his melodies and just the way he, projects himself. Not that I'm comparing the two in styles or sound, because they don't sound to me alike, but I like them in a certain way that I don't really like others. Then you got Cake, Fashion Nugget, great album, great band, love Cake. Then you got Sheryl Crow, her self-titled album is a fantastic album. It's a good rock album that, it's not heavy rock, but it's good rocking, and then it's got some great, beautiful acoustic songs. I mean, the way that she plays her acoustic guitar and who she has accompanying her, the way they blend the guitars and things like that, it just really sounds great. And then you got her awesome voice on top of it, and also her interesting perspective as a woman rocker. I love hearing her lyrical content and what she sings about, and that's really interesting to me too. I love that. I love women rock and rollers and women rock singers, and she plays guitar, and she's great. I love Sheryl Crow so much. And then, of course, my favorite top for 1996, my number one pick was Test for Echoes from Rush, and always a Rush fan forever and ever and ever. So sorry if you don't like Rush. But anyways, thanks for watching, you guys. And we're going to go ahead and keep these rolling now that things have kind of stabilized around the Ledbetter household. Remember, this is all music with Todd Ledbetter, and I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and we will catch you next time. See you in 1997.